Welcome back to The Remote Life. My name is Han Talbot, also known as Han Meets World, and today we'll be chatting with Sergio Sala. While Sergio has been a digital nomad for 10 years, he has spent the last 5 years producing city guides specifically for digital nomads and uploading his experiences to YouTube. In this episode, we talk about a typical day in Sergio's life, including how he plans content, as well as things to know about digital nomad tourism and content creation. So grab a coffee, a tea, or something stronger, and let's get started. Amazing stuff. Sergio, welcome to the Remote Life podcast. How are you?
Yeah, good. Thank you for the invite. I'm excited to be here.
It's great to have you. So let's dive straight in. Tell us about you and your remote life journey so far.
So I'm Sergio Sala. I'm currently a YouTuber. My main thing is that I film city guides for digital nomads all around the world. I've done more than 30-something videos, literally all over the world. And the idea is just to share, what all the things to do, the community, the co-working, the coffee shops, the areas. Like I try to explain what would a digital nomad do in every city. And that's what I try to do. And that's why people know me from. But it's a long story that I don't know how much you want to talk about.
It's your intro. You talk as much as you'd like to. But what was it for you that kind of sparked your, YouTube journey? Like, why did you pick digital nomad guides specifically? Go tell us more. Tell us about me.
Okay, then we can go for the long one. Because every time I talk to someone, I would say, you want the short or the long version?
We're on a podcast. We've got that.
Basically, I've been nomading for more than 10 years. So that's a long time. Like one of the OGs, as people say. But at the beginning, I was a web designer. But before that, if you go back, I actually studied architecture. Like my background is architect. And I always loved to know more about cities, about building constructions, understanding what's happening in every single place around the world. So that's kind of like the start of everything for me. And I was always a creative person from architecture. I always do creative things. So in one of those things, I tried to make my first websites many years ago. And I liked that it took. It was a creative thing to do. And to make sure it's that I started kind of making websites for architects back in 2012, 13, something like that. I started making my first websites as a freelancer to architects. And back then, nobody had websites and people wanted it. So it was easier to get my first clients. That kind of led me from architecture to freelance. And then I just realized, wait a minute, I just need a laptop to work, And then this is cool. So I basically dropped the architecture part and went straight to just web design. And I was able to travel literally slowly, because I started getting my first clients. And then from architect clients, I pivoted to, online entrepreneurs, people who work online, people who were setting their own businesses online. And that's how I started getting my first clients and traveling at the same time. And then I started writing a blog because 10 years ago, nobody knew about this lifestyle. And I felt like I was doing this alone, It was in Spanish. Okay. I also forgot to say that I'm from Mexico. My first content creation was in Spanish. So I started building an audience. I was known as one of the first digital nomads in the Spanish world. And I was invited to conference everybody was figuring out many years ago what was all these things that we were doing, So it was the easiest way to start making an audience and friends and connections. That's how I met a lot of people like Gonzalo, the one from Madeira, and Nacho from Gran Canaria, and Johannes from Nomad Cruise, because we were the first ones 7-8 years ago. So slowly from blogging that give me some audience, I changed it later to YouTube to making videos because people wanted it a little bit more than written content. And that was just before COVID that I started making my first videos. People liked it, but COVID happened. It was hard to travel, but it was also good for me because I was literally on my computer editing and understanding the whole editing part, which is the hardest. But I learned, got better, and started making this focus on these city guys because, as I said, it's a combination of everything that I know from architecture, for digital nomading, for traveling, for connecting with people, to because if you get to see the videos, like they're very natural, I try to connect with people naturally, and I tell people what's happening in every single place around the world, like the communities. So basically, yeah, this is the short version. Like I don't do web design anymore. I'm now like a full-time YouTuber.
Nice. Yeah. No, that was a very good explanation. I was going to say, do you still produce some content in Spanish or?
Also, no, all those things. It's because it's been a journey of 10 years, but no. So it was from architecture to web design. And then I started at the same time, the blogging in Spanish. And then the others kind of grew and it was half and half. And then I basically moved everything to YouTube in English. And my clients was between English and Spanish, like it was a whole mix. But I decided to change it to English because that's what it's the language that we all speak around the world. And I was basically having more friends like digital nomads. I was speaking more English than Spanish. And it just made sense for me. I was like, no, you know what? Yeah, I left newsletter of 12,000 people from the Spanish world. I announced it and I said, hey, sorry, change it to English. Whoever wants to follow me there. And, maybe just 10% of the whole 12,000 people, but it is what it is. And it took a while, it was a risk, but I had to, I didn't drop it right away. I was testing it first if it's going to work. But after, 6-7 months, I started getting more and more people in speaking English and Spanish.
It's funny, part of me, like the marketer side of me is going, you let how many subscribers go? What? But I completely get it. Like, it must have been a lot of effort also. You kind of have to find that balance, I feel like, between like the return on the different types of content. And I think one thing that doesn't get talked about enough sometimes is how much time actually goes into content and that creation side of it. So, on the one hand, I can completely understand, but there was definitely a moment where I was there where I was like, oh, that's so many.
It's not easy, but I think it was even better because, at least of the digital nomad content that we do, as I said, we mostly speak in English, and most of the companies that support this thing, it's in English. So I'm pretty sure I wouldn't get the sponsors that I have now if I kept it in Spanish, So I think it was the right move. It was not easy. Like, I still get comments here and they're like, hey, why did you change it? I got one recently in a recent video. I was like, hey, what happened with your Spanish content? I'm like, dude, it's been a while. Just move on,
It's like so many questions I already want to follow up with, but I feel like I just want to start, take a step back for a minute and let's start with the basics, and then we'll get into kind of more the nitty gritty side of things. Because I know there will be a lot of people thinking, for example, how, as a digital nomad creator, do you get sponsors, and how do you have people approaching you? I know that's something that people ask me, so definitely want to dive into that a bit later for sure. But let's just take it back a minute to the basics. What does a typical day look like for you?
So, man, it changes day to day. There's so many. So I have two modes when I'm making YouTube videos. It's one of them is filming. So there's days that I can the whole day or most of the day just filming, exploring, or going to a coffee shop or working or exploring the areas. There's a lot of filming. There's other days that I'm literally the whole day editing, especially if I'm trying to finish a video, because it takes me a long time. I don't know, we can talk about that later, but it takes a long time to edit, and I'll explain why later. And then I also have the errands, replying to emails, comments, and working on new projects, on planning, and so it's actually 3. But it's funny because so a lot of the things that I do right now, it's part of my YouTube videos is pretending to be a digital nomad, the typical one, because now I'm a content creator, which is not the common one. So I like to create a day in the life of a digital nomad in let's say in Cusco, Peru, because that's where I'm currently right now, which I just did Machu Picchu, but we can talk about that later. So on the day in the life, I'm filming, the start of the day, going to the coffee shop, and because my favorite coffee shop that I already found, the people the local, the staff that already know me. And so I'm doing some work there, and work can be anything, editing, replying emails, whatever. And then I like to show, the first meal with my friends, where do we go? And then from there, maybe going back to my Airbnb because I usually get cool ones. This one has a nice view of the whole Cusco city. And then I like to show, all the nightlife, like having dinner with my friends, like whoever I meet here, and then a little bit of going out, which I don't like. It's not like I drink all the time, but on the day on the life that I post on the videos, I tend to post, if there's like drinking air places or bars or discos. So this is what I show, and it's not my every single day, but it's let's say like an ideal day of a city. But as I just replied to you, every day it's a bit different. So it's different, like 3 modes that I am in each day,
Yeah, that's a lot. I was going to say also, how much do you plan when it comes to these things? Because I know for me, obviously, like I'll go as far as having I have like a content specific list on like my Google Maps, for example. I'll do a session for myself on Pinterest where I'll sort of have a look around at what's going on. How much do you plan out what you're doing?
For me, planning is king. Like planning it's everything. I think I have created great videos because of that. And it becomes like, it's just interesting. It's part of my either way of living, because I also plan my life, but also maybe comes all the way from architecture and even web design. When I was doing websites, I was always having a plan of what we're going to do before start touching any pixel, So planning for me, it's key on these city guides that I make, because I need to know what I'm going to do. And also, it's also important for me in the sense that I'm not recording every single day. Like I'm recording the things that I want to. And let's say I start planning all the shots that I want to do. And then let's say if I do already enough, then I can leave the camera away, because I also want to enjoy the place that I am. So it's very important to know what's going to happen before. I use Notion. I've been using the Notion app since the beginning of its creation. I was one of the first users.
Well, sorry, I'm nodding because it's a big favorite here in Remote Life. It's probably been brought up so many times.
Yeah, it's my one app. Like I use it for everything, for life, work, and everything. And basically, yeah, I plan. So let's give the example of Cusco, which is that I'm right now. Before getting here, I first start like Googling Cusco for digital nomads and see what people has which blog posts have interesting information, no? And then maybe I see a YouTube video, but I don't see any good ones right now for Cusco, so that's good for me. I start searching like all these blog posts and I start piling up all the things. Let's say, they recommend these 5 coffee shops. So I start adding on Notion, the coffee shop, this one, Barro Cafe, which is the one that I'm going currently. And then, the area. So this is San Blas, this is the downtown. The activities, of course, visiting Machu Picchu, Sacred Valley, and the Rainbow Mountains. So I start like putting all these things, recording the intro, recording the Airbnb, the areas, the coffees. So I slowly start ticking them off until I fully finish the whole plan of the video. And it's also like things that I learned from filmmaking. Like that's what they do in Hollywood and all the big productions. They have a plan before start making a movie. So that's. By the way, all this is just by self-taught. I've been just learning every single thing, except for architecture, because I study in a proper university. But everything else, web design, writing, blogging, and YouTube is all being self-taught.
I think everyone also has a very different style, because again, I'm exactly the same. I did a languages degree. I don't have a marketing degree, none of that. So I very much opened my own blog, and my own YouTube channel 11 years ago now, and was very much self-taught. So I think everyone learns different ways. I think everyone plans different ways. That's why I'm so curious, because I see people being like, here's my planner for January to December, or here's my 3-month planner, or here's my weekly planner. And as cute as they look, that is just 100% not how I operate, especially in the remote life world. My next question for you was going to be, how do you deal with being able to stick to not necessarily a strict schedule or a strict list, but life happens at the end of the day. So if for any reason you can't make it to these places, how do you deal with that?
Planning is key, as I said, but I'm also the other key is adaptation, like adapt to changes. And one of the things that I love about Notion is you can easily drag and drop everywhere, move things around. That's how I do it. It's a lot of it's also part of problem solving. Like you go and let's say the mountain rainbow was cloudy. So oh shit, what should I do? So I start thinking, well, either I go back the next day or even maybe I don't have time. Then I'll just have to send the video. Well, I'm sorry, things happen. This is not how. Maybe it's also, I don't know. You can also show, that life happens, and this is the cool things about the videos that I make. As I try to make it natural. If something happens that I cannot completely change it, I would just say sorry. Could be done as I wanted, But I usually try to make it the way that I imagine, because that's part of me. And it's also kind of also the same going back to Hollywood movies. They do screenplays. They draw what they want, For me, it's more what's on my mind, kind of inside, how I want the video to be. So I try to aim for it. But if things change, something like an injury or something like that, but then I'll just have to explain, and say, hey, well, I couldn't. So there's sometimes, actually one of my first videos in Medellin, Colombia, it's just a whole story that one of my backpacks was stolen from a co-working space and my camera was there.
Oh no. Oh God. Gets worse.
I know. And I was just resilience. And I said, I still have my phone. Phone has good quality. And it was 3 years ago. So it was like an iPhone 10 or something like that. Not as good as the phone right now, but it's still I'll just finish the video with the camera. And a lot of people didn't even realize that happened, I'm very used to the changes.
Happy coincidence. Okay.
Always adapted to change because life itself is just changes and trying to find the positives of whatever has happened,
I had a not too dissimilar situation, and this was why one of those this is why you get insurance kind of life lessons. I had my phone stolen in Mexico City right at the beginning of my trip. And so then I had to go out. I didn't have to. I decided to go out and get it. I think I had an iPhone 12. And stupidly, I was complaining about it. I was like, oh my God, this iPhone 12 is so annoying. That careful what you put out there, because it then got stolen in Mexico City. And I then went out, and the best option I could find was an iPhone 8. Still, obviously, for my quality, I was looking back now and trying to put it up online. And it obviously silver lining because I got a better phone after I left. But of course, you're in a new destination and going, I want to create really nice quality content. And here it is all pixely and it was one of those classic, be careful what you put out there in the universe because you never know what's going to happen. So, and get insurance.
Yeah, that's very important too. That is true. So be prepared, but also accept things can happen when you travel and even in everyday life,
Out of interest, which insurance do you use?
What do you use?
I would say doing as well, but I have got I now, based off that experience, because I ended up having to pay a lot of money out of pocket just to pay off the phone that got stolen in the end because I didn't buy the monthly insurance. So yeah, that was on Virgin Mobile, which has now moved over.
Because they have the theft insurance now.
Yeah, so I was like, no, I'm never going to lose my phone. I've never lost a phone in my life. I've never broken one. So I didn't pay for monthly insurance on my mobile plan. And that's the one thing that has gone missing or been stolen on my travels.
I have the Apple Care with the theft protection for the phone itself. Yeah, my family now is in the States, so everything is on the States now. For me, it's just amazing. But I use SafetyWin for other things. They have a $1,000 protection for electronics, just in case.
No, they're good. And for any creators listening, they also have a decent ambassador program. Just saying.
Yes.
Is there anything that people would perhaps find surprising about your lifestyle, about your work? Anything that you kind of wish people knew more about being a content creator and a digital nomad?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe a lot of people don't know how much work it's done, to make these videos possible. Because when you sit down and just watch it, if you don't know much about filmmaking, you just see the video and just oh, cool video, no? But a lot of people who are into filmmaking, dude, how do you do this shot? How do you set up the camera? And so there's, for me, it's a lot of with the planning and set of the camera and then getting the perfect angle and like picking up the camera or putting the camera like in the street, risking it that somebody can take it, which it depends on the place, but a lot of the places that I've been is usually safe, so it's okay. But I try to be creative in some ways and also learning all the time. So it's a lot of work, and then managing all the files because I have a main camera and a second camera and a drone and an Insta360 and organizing all these things. Like I've got my own organization system for everything. Like as I said, I learned everything just by myself, but I have like a whole kind of like the Hollywood thing going back to have 4 process of filmmaking: the pre-production, production, filming, editing. So I just started creating my own process that a lot of people don't see the behind the scenes of creating a single video, which my videos, if people haven't seen it yet, they're like 30 to 50, like the longest is close to 1 hour, the Chiang Mai, Thailand video. Mm-hmm. It's not easy to do. Like when you see the end result and when you understand filmmaking, it's like, oh wow, this is a lot of work behind, though. Because especially the filming 1 month, the key highlights of what's happening, it's a lot. So when people see me in person and they see, oh wow, and I never expected that you were doing so much, because when you see it in the camera, it just looks easy and chill and like a cool lifestyle and everything is.
You've done it right.
Just relaxing.
You've done your job.
Yeah, so I think that that's a surprising thing that it's a lot of work.
How long would you say that it takes you to edit roughly that one video?
I've been also checking that. Like I time tracked it, the last ones. It's around 40 to 50 hours per video, depending. Yeah. And it's even more, but just the editing, and I don't count the breaks because I stopped I pause when I have breaks and things like that. Mm-hmm. And if people wonder why do I edit? Because a lot of people say, oh, why don't you hire someone? The main reason, well, there's 2 reasons. First, because I like it, even though it's so tiring and time consuming. The second one is mostly because it's kind of like the king reading. Like it's like if I'm the artist, I'm the one who can create this sculpture, just as an example, Like I know the technique and all the stuff. So especially these kind of videos that I make, it's just not easy to just hire someone to do it. Like maybe I'll do it for reels and things like that I just don't like those things. I don't like TikTok. I don't like reels, but I know people want it. So maybe I'm going to hire for people for that. But the sauce of the way that I create the videos, it's even harder or take more time to explain someone like some details that happen here in Cusco, let's say, and start explaining the editor, hey, you had to put this because of this and this and that. It'll take me forever, and I'll just do it myself. Like this is what kind of like why I do it myself.
I think also one thing that you do very well that I've not seen many other people do is that you are very good at telling it like a natural story, almost like a kind of documentary, rather than. So if you type in YouTube, a lot of the time, a lot of the videos will be, and again, there's obviously no problem with it, but I know for myself, I like to kind of get a feel for the vibe of places, but a lot of people tend to focus, generally speaking, on the top level stuff, let's say. So costs, general activities, hostels, or it's a very kind of like top level experience. Whereas you really get a sense of also like who you are as a creator in your videos as well. And I think that's why, I think someone was actually asking me last time, so apologies for the background noise, it's rush hour just off Tirana Square, main square, so I apologise for any traffic that you might be experiencing, dear listeners. But I think someone was actually asking me last summer, okay, like who would you say is like who would you name as a digital nomad specific creator? And I honestly struggled to think of people who are like specific digital nomad creators, but I think I absolutely class you as one of those, because again, you get a feel for the lifestyle, but also like you get a feel for the place. Like, that's just you have a very specific way of making it so that you are a digital nomad lifestyle creator. And I think that's still like very early. I think you're still one of the only people who does that well, how I want to see it, let's say.
Yeah. well,
Special sauce.
no, thank you for that. And yeah, like other creators, that's true. Like Christopher Lancer, which is a friend of mine, he was doing some, but he's slowly not doing it that much anymore.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't find all. Yeah, Christopher Lancer is the only one that I could think about. No one else says it. But it's true what you said. Like, and I forgot to say that the storytelling is a big part of what I do. That again, this is part of what I have already created, like a process. You know, I always start with an intro of arriving to the place, and then showing the place that I stay. But yeah, you can sense it since the beginning that you're like that I'm taking you in a journey with me. That's part of like what I try to do since the beginning, because I share like the airport or the first main way of transportation to get to a place. So it's like it's already intuitive there that, hey, okay, I'm going with you. And then that's the cool part of being a YouTuber too, because I can share my life, but I'm trying to not make it about me. Like there's other people, and don't want to say names, but yeah, there's people like they're basically the whole time in the camera and there's nothing about the place. My videos, one of the main goals, or maybe the first main goal, is that you leave after the video with a understanding of the place. And the second goal is like a little bit of what I do, like, because here and there I put some parts of me, because at the end it's also my YouTube channel. But it's a story of how do I arrive to a place, how do I meet people, how do I stay, and there's a journey. There's no like, usually not drama journeys. I don't try to put it off like for example the Medellin video, when I lost the stuff, I never mentioned it. I think I did at the end like an outro part of it, because I just didn't. Some YouTubers or people will just focus on that, like, oh, I lost my stuff, and I'm gonna stick to the end to watch how I lost my stuff or something like that. But at the end, for me, for each city guide, as I call them, is just to explain the people what's happening there for digital nomads, and then I'll just put on the background, well, I lost it later, but it can happen. It will not happen for you if you get there. Like it's just 1% of like, it doesn't happen all the time. That's what I'm trying to say.
No, 100%. I completely get what I 100% can think of examples of people who have done, like you said, and I've kind of sat there kind of watching, but I can also understand how that might have happened. So, for example, I did a study abroad in Brazil, right? And the stories that I used to hear, I had a flatmate who used to work with some exchange students, and the stories she used to come back to the apartment with were insane. I'd never even think about walking around with, like, for example, my phone out or my laptop out. Like, obviously, you're kind of leaving my belongings on a table in a nightclub. It was just, you wouldn't do that. So I think it's important to talk about it. And I know that when I have talked about this sort of things, people are kind of glad that you did. But then, especially when you are like a digital nomad and you kind of know generally what to expect from a destination, if you've done your research, I think it kind of just adds as a tale of caution rather than like, don't go here, or like, this is what happened to me. It will definitely happen to you as well. I think there's definitely a line. I don't know if you'd agree.
Yeah, because a lot of people go for the clickbait. We know what's clickbait already, and I try not to do that. Like, my mission has always been to try to find, or like being searched by people who wants to know about the place, but not like try to clickbait them into my stuff. Like, so it's like a slow growth, but it's more about quality than quantity. This is the way that I say it. Even, for example, I remember another example in Buenos Aires, which is the whole thing about the currency, that it's just getting, how cheap it's becoming because of the money thing. When I made the video, I just didn't want to focus on that neither. Like, I mentioned it and then I explained it more later, but I couldn't start saying, oh, how cheap is Buenos Aires, you should come just for this, So, like, I don't like this clickbaity stuff.
100%. That is also another conversation that needs to go in the bin, in my opinion. Because, cheap for who? That's all I will add to that. Cheap for who? Kind of back on a more positive note, though. Where has been your favourite place to visit and or create content? So has it been one destination for both? Has it been two destinations for either one?
It's funny because, like every time I travel, people ask me the same thing, like, what is your favorite place? And it's just so hard to respond because,
I feel the same, and when I ask it, I'm always like, "Oh, why am I asking it?" But I am generally curious, especially as a content creator.
yeah, it's hard because one of the main reasons that I do what I do is because it's just, I like to explore, and every place has its thing. And the last talk that I made about, my 10 years as a nomad, first explanation to people is like, there's no perfect place, every single place is different, has its different things. If people are insisting for me to tell them which ones I like the most, I mean, there's a few that always come to my mind. One of my favorites personally is just Chiang Mai, Thailand, because it's just so special for me. It was my first kind of place to stay longer in Asia back in 2016, and I met so many great people. And I love coffee, like real good coffee, like the specialty coffee. And Chiang Mai has more than 3,000 coffee shops.
Yeah.
It's usually affordable, and the Thai people are amazing. But the downside is like that. Like, it's hard to communicate with the locals because not everybody speaks English, or sometimes broken English. There's no beach in Chiang Mai, there's lakes there. But when I was there, I almost settled my home base there, like spent almost a year in between these years. Like, of my 10 years, almost 1 year was just in Chiang Mai because I like it so much. And the problem is that it's so far from my family. Family's in the States, and then going, to Asia, it's just so hard to move around all the time. Because, I don't know. I mean, these topics that we can talk about later, but like all about if you travel a lot, when do you see your family and all those things. But Chiang Mai Thailand is one of my favorites that I think about. And then, well, actually, one cool thing that I read recently that I kept telling people is that a good way for digital nomads to like a place, it's what we call the 15-minute city concept. Have you heard about that?
15-minute city, so the amenities, facilities, amenities. Sorry, I can't even speak my language right now. Having everything within 15 minutes walking, is it?
Not walking, but like just reachable by 15 minutes. It could be a scooter, it can be a car, whatever.
That makes so much sense. I never thought about it like that. That was going to be a question as well. I was going to say, how do you pick places? And that makes a lot of sense. So Chiang Mai is one for you. Is there anywhere else?
Yeah, because if you have a scooter there, everything is just 15 minutes away, and then it's just easy to get whatever you want. Another reason to choose a place, it's Gonzalo said it, but it's like nomads travel for communities,
True.
Yeah, as I've been traveling more, I just realized that at the end, what we're craving is just more friendships, more people to connect with.
Yeah, I think Chiang Mai seems to have one of the bigger communities, coupled with, I feel like, Medellin and Madeira, would you say?
I haven't been to Madeira, which I'm going now in June, but I heard good things about it.
Yeah, nice.
As I've been traveling more and more, I don't know, maybe it's the age or something, but I'm not into like getting to know more. Like, how can I say it? It just gets starting to meeting more and more people. That's what I'm saying. I'm slowly like trying to think about. I just want my group of nomad friends, and like here in Cusco. Well, first we did Lima. We were like three roommates and people that I know from before. So we've been like together. There's some meetups in Lima, but in Cusco there's less because it's not a common hotspot, and it's very touristic. The people just pass by just to be seen as a picture, and that's it. Even though there's a huge potential here, like this is a great place, I think, but there's not like a nomad thing. But beside my roommates, I started seeing other friends that I met before from some from Nomad Crew, some from that I met in Brazil recently. But it's just so cool to start seeing familiar faces, because this realized me that it's just so tiring when you start meeting, especially tourists, and you tell them you're a digital nomad. They're like, oh, what is that? And how do you do it? How do you make money? And I'm like, come on, like it's already a common thing. Like, why do I have to explain it,
Yeah, you definitely feel a little bit like a broken record, I feel like, after a while. Like, you kind of get used to it. Someone was asking me, I was on a hike a couple of days ago, and they're like, oh my gosh, you must get this question so much. And I was like, no, you perfect an answer. But also, yes, it gets very tiring having to explain yourself, especially, again, same as you did with your intro. You're like, do you want the short version or do you want the long version? Because it's a very long version. But it brings me on to a good point that you mentioned also as well. How do you manage like kind of being like by yourself, or like how versus like being with friends, family a lot, like kind of being away from them a lot? Is there any way that you kind of manage that?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. First of all, so beside the city guys, I've been thinking, which I should have done early, but anyway, I want to do like kind of videos of behind the scene of the digital nomad life and start talking about all those things that we go through, like because sometimes we feel alone. Like a traveler, when he goes alone, there were times you're going to feel alone, but as the nomad thing evolves, it's, as I said, like there's more people doing these things. So I don't feel alone, but sometimes I'm half. I'm maybe a little bit more introvert than extrovert. Mm-hmm. So for me, times alone are amazing too. And I don't feel alone because I still have my family like a message away, which is cool. Even though we're not physically in the same place, the internet just makes us connected, So I do not feel alone, but sometimes I've like in the moment is like if I'm not as of now, like let's say if I go to a new place that I don't know anyone, that's when I will feel like, oh, well, I had to start because it's also hard work to start meeting new people, But how to deal with all those things. As I said, like the internet just changed everything in the sense that it's so easy to connect with people, to talk to. Like I'm talking to friends right now, especially going to Europe, like, hey, who's here, who's there? Like I want to visit my friends and I just don't want to go to a city. If I had to go to a city that I don't know anyone because of it's needed to make a video, okay. But I would rather go to places where my friends are because it's just nice to, for all around these 10 years, like I have created like a group of friends that I really like to see and they're all over the world, which is crazy,
I'm absolutely the same. I feel like I want to now stick, and same with the whole age thing too. I wonder if that's another factor. I definitely find myself wanting to be around more people I know. Like I literally, I picked, I'd say the last 2-3 destinations at least, based off of who's going to be there. It makes such a difference. I was in Tbilisi for 5 weeks, and I feel so grateful that
that's where we're talking before we started this podcast. I asked you about Bansko because of the Bansko Nomad Fest. One of the main reasons that I guess still not sure if I'm going, but one of the main reasons is because a lot of friends are going. Like a lot of them are asking me, "Hey, are you going? Are you going?" Like, but everybody's there, especially as us nomads. It's just also hard to sync the time. Mm. Like I like the nomad cruise because cruise with nomads because it's friends that friends and new people too. But it's just a good way for us nomads that we're all over the world, like finally being one place. So Bansko is a lot of people who I would like to see again. So I'm still debating. So maybe I go, maybe one. But it's just nice to know that everybody will be in one place,
I think we'll be seeing you at Bansko. I'm calling it now. That was exactly why I like to. It's funny. I definitely also partially wanted to go. I try to sort of pick destinations also based on the events as well. Like so, going back to the Tbilisi example, there was a content creator conference that was happening, and then obviously quite a few people then stick around afterwards. So as a content creator, it's great because then you can also like buddy up and you can go get content for a day together. You can then like hang out and discuss random the pros and cons of WordPress versus Squarespace. It's just it's just a whole other vibe, I feel, because again you've got people who are not only doing what you do as a job but also living that lifestyle. So you can it's almost like meeting up with our version of like our colleagues too. So
that's the things that I would like to talk to like on a deeper level. But let's say the difference right now with the internet is that back in the days, or let's say when you go to college, or especially let's say in high school, like the friends that you made back then, it's what we call by proximity. It's the people who were on the same area, and then you kind of became friends. And the reason that we start slowly losing those contacts after the years is because the interests are different. And it's just natural. Like I lost a lot of my, not fully. If I write someone, maybe, hey, let's catch up, but it's not like I talk to them frequently on my friends from high school. But now with the internet, now you start meeting people by interest, by the same things that you share. And it's just kind of easier to connect to those people because now you kind of choose where you want to meet these people instead of like you're forced to meet these friends in high school by proximity. So that's a huge change of the way that we live, and it's going to be more and more like you start meeting people with the same interests, so then you start becoming good friends, and then maybe later in life you have another interest, and that's how you start losing those other friends from that interest group, but it's just natural. So that's the cool thing about the internet. That's why we all digital nomads, we kind of share this part of traveling the world and working online. And even though it's going to be bigger and bigger, and then it's going to be more niche down on interest again, like, because like working online, we might be more general, like everybody will do that. So now it's going to be more into small niches. Exactly what Gonzalo's doing, like he's trying to make a group of nomads who are into fitness. So there's the fitness one, there's the content creation, because being a YouTuber is way different than a SEO or like a indie hacker, So we first had this niche of digital nomads, but now it's so big that slowly it's going to becoming niches of digital nomads, of the fitness guys, of the YouTubers, of the runners, of the writers, just whatever is happening in the world.
100% agree. That's why I want to get the remote creatives off the ground, because there's so many of us who are we would love to know if there was more creators in the city that you don't have to necessarily be like a professional, for example, but you might have an interest in taking photos, or you might just want to hang around creative people for a day or whatever. So I think it's so true that although we obviously work predominantly kind of online and it kind of exists, if you will, online, we are human at the end of the day, and we still want to be around people where we don't feel like we have to necessarily explain again, like where we're from, what we do, like how do we manage it.
Yeah,
and we can just kind of exist in the same kind of group of people as well.
Yeah, it gets that. Like I just did the Inca Trail hike to Machu Picchu, which is I'm actually gonna make a full video about it. You can check that on my channel, just about the hike, because it's very special for me, because I did it 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But before we got into the reason that I'm bringing it up is because like you were forced to go with other 5 people extra from my roommates, and these people, like, let's say normal people, like they don't do work online. So even though it was nice to meet them and everything, some of them were like, hey, are you making money of YouTube? And I like, yes, it's possible. That's part like, yes, okay, I had to tell you because you don't know this world, okay? Yeah, it's just, it reminded me, like how we are like in a whole different level. But I don't know why did I brought this up, but yeah.
I will quickly ask you, because we obviously touched upon it briefly at the beginning. What are, you don't obviously don't need to give us numbers, but what would you say like a general sort of like pieces of the pie that make up your income? Because you mentioned sponsorships as one of them.
That's the main for me. I get some deals with a few sponsors that I just promote it on my videos, and each video that I make, they get a lot of views on the long run. Like I start seeing some of them. I got lots of views at the beginning, but now I started seeing that it's in the long run. They slowly get more and more people. So I promise this sponsor, hey, you're gonna be seen in for a year or more, like and I got a few like the typical. I got Skillshare recently, which is pretty cool. Like a lot of YouTubers in the same. So yeah, like they pay well. It's not good to say numbers, but they pay well. Then I had one for almost 2 years, which is nomadlist.com, and it was very connected to what I was doing. So it was easy to do these collaborations, and they were paying me monthly. And I'm slowly working on new ideas, not to depend on sponsors, like creating my own products. I'm a bit slow on that, but I have a few ideas. Like I bought the domain nomadhandbook.com, which I think is a cool one, to create like a simple guide to make people get into the digital nomad thing. And I want to make like one of my main products that I can just promote it on my end without having to rely on sponsors. Like the idea is just to have like a little bit of a passive income if possible. And I have a few other things like retreats that I'm starting to work. I did 2 or 3 already. I'm working on a new one, maybe in Mexico with the new Maya trains, like a train goes around Cancun, Playa Carmen, all the stuff. And maybe I'm going to work it out. So my plan is to start making more of my own products as the audience is growing. So I don't have to rely on the sponsors because they're paying well, but they change, especially, like when I lost the contract with Nomad because it's been already 2 years, and now I need to search for more. I realized maybe I should just rely on my own things instead of searching for other companies.
I mean, 100%, but also like it's great to have that kind of. I think the partnerships part is really great when we come together and share those resources and whatnot. But I can understand also, definitely after the pandemic as well, the need to diversify as well.
And diversifying in a few things like sponsors, online products, retreats, affiliate marketing. I get a lot of free stuff, which is cool. I get free accommodations on the exchange. It's kind of like a payment too, like some of my videos, especially if I stay in co-livings, I try to have an agreement like, hey, if you give me the whole month for free, I'm gonna put you there as a hidden promotion, like it's basically a lot of showing their co-living space and people see it and they want to stay there. So I have those kind of agreements, exchange, plus the main sponsor of the video, plus like free gear, free stuff that it's a lot of stream of incomes that add to have a full-time job, no?
You just unlocked a whole bunch of other questions that I really want to ask and dive into. But I'm super wary of time at the moment. So I feel like if people want us to potentially have another conversation around, because again, I'm having done content creation professionally, if you will, for 11 years, I can talk about this all day. So let's just deep dive right now. But I'm very wary of, we've got we're at 52 minutes now. That's crazy. Just some quick questions for you though. Do people reach out to you from brands, or do you pitch to them, or is it a mixture?
Yeah, first of all, it's funny because I say that I'm an introvert, but if you put me in a talking mode, I can talk for hours. But it's a mix. Replying to your question, I get both of being contact and also contact people. The Nomad one, it was a whole in between that I was friend of the owner of this thing. But I think I just sent a DM and he's like, okay, I was looking for sponsors and people. And it was a good timing, let's say. But there's a few Skillshare reach out to me, which I was like, oh, wow, that's cool. And there's also this new feature in YouTube called YouTube Connect, something like that. So it connects you to some companies. But I'm also trying to find my own companies. There's a few that I would like to work with, like Wise, the app for currencies. I've been trying to reach out to them, but they don't reply or stuff like that. So it's a mix. I get good ones, then I get some emails of really weird companies. Like, why did you talk to how? There's no connection to my audience because at the end, I want to promote things that are kind of connected. Like the last one that I did with Skillshare was nice because I connected it with the video that I made of Seoul, South Korea, and I was genuinely learning how to write Korean because it's one of the easiest of the Asian characters. And there's a Skillshare course about learning Korean. So it was a perfect sense. Hey, if you want to learn Korean, it's one of the easiest. It takes you literally 1 hour. You understand at least some parts of it. And it was a pretty nice promotion, Then Safety Wing, which is I'm going to work with them for a few videos. Of course, this is what I use as my travel insurance for a while. And they had this new theft thing. So this is just really easy to promote it because I also use it. And Wise, I want to work with them because I used it a lot in Brazil because they have this thing called Pix in Brazil and Wise has that option. So anyway, yeah, it's only companies that I really like. For my clothes that I'm wearing right now, I mean, people are listening, not watching, but it's all Western Rice. It's the company that I love from the States in Colorado. I'm actually talking to the owner and we want to work together and maybe he's going to send me more stuff and I want to promote them because I really like the clothes. Like basically, I'm just using Western wear as my wardrobe. So, just companies that I like to share.
That's a really good point. Absolutely, yeah. When you mentioned about random companies reaching out, I feel like that's a rite of passage. I think you've really made it into, you've had a very strange, obscure company reach out saying that you'd be a great fit for something that is just not a fit at all. I feel like there are many people asking, and this is something that I know for me I'm trying to explore a little bit more. When it comes to ad disclosures and promotion, kind of which country do you tend to base that off of, or do you not? Or how do you kind of make sure you are also not crossing any disclosure lines as well?
No, like I try to be clear when it's promoted content, and I also, whenever I sign something or agreement, I need to tell the companies that I will only promote it if I really think they're suitable. Like I don't want to do something that is forced or doesn't make sense, or like because I'm usually a positive person. I don't like to talk much about negative, or just find a different way to say about the negative. Or like, let's say if I never talk about a companies because really I just don't want to. I really don't like it, but I don't want to say it. so I will only promote things that I really like to share.
Yeah, and do you tend to kind of go by the American ad disclosure laws, or do you just kind of do it based off of putting ad or
just on the bottom saying that the disclosure, like, hey, if you click on this, like I get something, or I get paid to do this, and like a small disclosure.
This is just something I'm trying to kind of figure out from my perspective, because obviously, for example, I'll use sort of the UK laws of ad disclosure, which is very much you must disclose this, absolutely, and a gifted thing, you've got to disclose it. But then it's then trying to figure out, okay, I might be a UK citizen, but I'm then being contracted by a company outside the UK. Which laws am I meant to go by? I'm just curious from my own. I don't have to include this bit necessarily. I was just being a bit of a nerd. This is just me and my research. Wow.
I see. No, like all of my contracts are US based because I already have a business there in the US, and I might even become applying for the green card through my mom. So I kind of losing all my Mexican rights. So becoming slowly a US American now. So
Gotcha. We don't have to necessarily include that. This is just something I'm generally trying to work on all the time, is figuring out that that line, because at the moment there's not really a rule.
I see.
There's not really a rule for it.
But that's one of the other things, like US has takes a lot of the global the global politics, so it's just easy to do everything through a US business for me.
No, that's interesting. Okay, cool. All right, trying to just wrap things up now. Again, I feel like there might have to just be a part 2 at some point, because again, I feel like we've only just scratched the surface in my mind. But just for a quick fire round, so one word answer. Top 3 must-haves as a digital nomad content creator into your suitcase.
MacBook Air, which is my favorite, with the M1. A camera, especially a Sony A7C is my favorite. And an iPhone, of course. I can't live without an iPhone. The latest iPhone.
The basics, yeah.
Yeah.
And what's one thing that people might not expect that you've got in your luggage?
Well, I'm traveling with an AeroPress, which is a coffee maker. It's a small coffee maker. I am not using it because I go to coffee shops, but I still carry it with me. So it's people are surprised with it.
That's so random. I love it. I'm like, does that make you somehow more of a stereotypical nomad somehow? Good Wi-Fi and good coffee.
I'm a coffee nomad.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, and final question. Fill in the blank. Home is where?
So home is wherever I take my laptop with, but that means that it can be anywhere, and anywhere I have special quality time with friends, family, and people that I care. That's
literally the home is where my laptop is background story. So.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember that. That's true.
100%.
That's true.
Amazing. It has been amazing to chat, Sergio. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Yeah, thanks for the invite. Yeah, I think it went too long, but I say I can talk for hours if you let me know. Like if you see me like in a coffee shop, I'm very quiet and doing my own thing. But if I can talk, I talk a lot. But thank you, yeah, thank you for the invite. And yeah, last time we saw it was in Nagaete, no? Like a year ago, or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, my roommate right now is Yoshi. You remember Yoshi?
Yes. Yeah. One of your key features on your videos as well.
Oh yeah, he's been in several.
Yeah.
He's he's a good friend, and we keep traveling together. And we'll see. Because after here we're gonna go different places, but we'll see.
Yes, absolutely. We'll see you potentially yourself and also Yoshi on the road. We'll see you guys on the road.
Yeah, and I'll see you like maybe in Europe. Let's see, like that's the cool thing about nomads. We always like here and there we might find each other,
100%. Amazing.
If you want to search my YouTube channel, just Sergio Sala, which is very easy. Sergio SergioSala. You're gonna find me literally in YouTube, Instagram, all the things. Anything that you guys want. That I have, as I said, 30 cities around the world. I'm gonna make more and more.
That was one of the absolute best typical YouTuber comments. All the things, guys.
Follow, subscribe, click, like, smash the button.
So much. It'll all be in there. So yeah, go check them out. And we'll see you again on the road soon.
Yeah, thank you. See ya.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of The Remote Life. And thank you, Sergio, for taking the time to speak with us. You can find links to his channels below. Thank you so much again for listening, and we can't wait to remote work with you again soon.